is vk3sl testing on 160 and on UHF. I'm just going to do a fader-matic there. We won't hear any more of that Bach concerto. It's a minor concerto there with Mr. Heifetz, recorded in the 50s. Very acerbic sound, closely mic'd in a dry acoustic. A lot of those recordings had that stamp of character to them. Now I'm testing here on 160 UHF, streaming online, and I think I'm lonesome tonight because Mr. JR is out and about. So we wish him well, and hopefully, actually it'll be a little while before we catch up with Frank JR, because I think he is away next week. So yeah, we'll just do a few solo missions or whatever and see where the tide takes us over the next bit. So I'm around for a little while tonight. I've got to leave a little earlier than usual. So we'll just fill in the space with a few 78s. Now, I think I'm set, ready to go, but it's the first record is from around about 1930. It's the new Mayfair Orchestra, and a great track called Makin' Wiki Wacky Down in Waikiki back in 1930. Let's have a listen.
Pack up your troubles and come along. Well, life's a dreamy and life's a song. In Honolulu, across the sea, making wiki wacky down in Waikiki. Oh, the hula dancers are sure good news. So George's Spencer's a cure for blues. It's absolutely the place to be, making wiki wacky down in Waikiki. No evening clothes, anything goes, believe it or not. And when the night shadows fall, that's when they all get in hard. On the ukuleles, they use the moonbeams to light the night, and every tune seems to sound just right. It's absolutely the place to be, making wiki wacky down in Waikiki. All you whoopee makers, all you wide awakers, join me. I've just found a spot, you'll like it a lot, far away, off in Honolulu, where the hula hula greets you. Hawaii is the place to get a smile on your face. Pack up your troubles and come along. Well, life's a dreamy and life's a song. In Honolulu, across the sea, down to Waikiki. Oh, the hula dancers are sure good news. Those joy dispensers are cure for blues. It's absolutely the place to be. Make it wicky wacky down to Waikiki. The modern daughters, skirts get shorter in sunny weather. Now they're shorter than they order till they vanish altogether.
Was definitely Al Bowley on the vocals on that record there. A bit of nonsense music from Britain. They were great with their novelty records. And that one goes to the top of the pile because I think it has got spunk and spirit. What's the other side? Time on My Hands. Well, I'll preview that for another missions, I think. And we're riffing through a different pile today. I sort of dug deep and found another batch of records hiding behind a shelf. That's the way of things here. We've got a very limited space, but lots of records crammed in every nook and cranny. And the idea is that you put a few records away, wait a few years, and they sort of breed. So, yeah, I'm just finding out, discovering some of these records which have been breeding for quite a few years. So this is a bit of an unknown pile, which I'm riffing through now. The next one is a recording of Billy Costello, the original Popeye. And another nonsense tune on the good ship Yakariki Dula on a Regal Zonophone. We'll have to hear it. I'm vk3sl and we are testing.
I'm a bull-beared villain. I roam the angry sea. My life is one of a crime. Poison is a piracy. If a sweet young damsel should change the country eye, I'll tell her the story that a spider told of pride. Then I snap me finger, then I snap the other one. I don't care should the parent find once aboard the slugger and the goil is mine. Then I sets me sails and sails away. No fear, no foe, no cooler than I. For whenever I go, I fear no foe. On the good ship, Yakka-hickey-doo-la. Oh.
What is that over there? What is that?
Right, get away, break the guy's jaw, that's what I'll do. Just let it hit, leave it to me, boys. So I snap my finger. I snap the other one, boys. I don't care should the parent find once aboard the lugger and the coil is mine. Then I set me sails and sails away. No pirate ever was cooler. Forever I go, I fear no foe. On the good ship, Yakka-hickey-doo-la. Now I snap my finger. I snap the other one, boys. Overboard the commander fell, shouted mercy, and boy, they all went down below. Then I set my sails and I sailed away. No pirate ever was cooler, for wherever I go, I fear no foe. On the good ship, Yakka-hickey-doo-la.
Was the original Popeye, Billy Costello, there with the orchestra. Now, poor old Billy Costello went a bit mad. I think Popeye went to his head, and I don't think he was employable at the end. I think everyone could just had enough of his antics. Go figure. So there we have him in his prime. And you hear him with Waring's Pennsylvanians in the 20s as well. And it does say on the label here, yeah, the Billy Costello, the original Popeye the Sailor with novelty accompaniment. Shall I play side B? Well, I think we can be assured it'll be something a bit crazy. Yes, it will be, because the name of the track is The Man on the Flying Trapeze. We'll have to hear it. Side B. On track.
Now once I was happy, but now I'm forlorn. Like an old coat that is tattered and torn, left on this wide world to pretend to mourn, betrayed by a gal in her teens. Now the gal that I loved, she was handsome. Boy, I tried all I knew her to please. She left there one morning without any warning. The man on the flying trapeze, oh, he flew through the air with the greatest of ease. The daring young man on the flying trapeze, his movements were graceful, all the coils he does please, and we love the take on the way.
Oh, the lady, the lady, oh, 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 the lady, the lady, oh, the lady, oh, the lady.
mother was both on me side, and very hard tried to make her own me bride. Her father beside her, her mother she cried, to see her throw herself all away. 'Twas all now a bail, she went there every night, and would throw him bouquets on the stage. Which caused him to meet her, how he ran me down, to tell you he would take the whole page. Oh, he floats through the air with the greatest of ease, the daring young man on the flying trapeze. His movements were graceful, all the coils he does please, and me love he has taken away.
Oh, the lady, 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 oh, the lady.
Yes, I think a little would have gone a long way with Mr. Costello and his magic. Not. Well, there we have it. The Man in the Flying Trapeze. We had 2 tracks, and the good ship Yaka Ricky Dula on a Regals on a very scratched up record, but it's in the batch, and we're just riffing through another part of 78s here, which hasn't seen the light of day. And amongst them is a set of studies in swing on parlophone. English recordings made with George Scott Wood. They're interesting records because they feature a solo artist on one side, and the other side is just the rhythm section, so the enthusiastic amateur can play along. And I remember doing this as a kid. I used to play along with these on my harmonica. So, yeah, I remember it very fondly. But there's a full set of these here, or a few of them anyhow. I'll play a couple because they are very good, especially the I don't think we'll play the rhythm section side, but we'll play the solo side, which actually features Freddie Gardner and George Scott Wood and the ensemble. Because tell us who's in the rhythm section. Yes, Cecil Norman on the piano, Albert Harris on the guitar, and Jock Jacobson says on drums, and Dick Escott on the bass. There we have the lineup. Studies in Swing. I think these were made in the late 1930s with George Scott Wood. In this case, the soloist is Freddie Gardner. The track, The Japanese Sandman. I'm vk3sl, and we're testing on 160 and on UHF. from the Studies and Swing series on Parlophone. That was Freddie Gardner and George Scott Wood there with the rhythm section here. And very lyrical rendition of Japanese Sandman. And there's more from that set, so we might play another one while we're running with this. It seems to be a stack of records of Freddie Gardner records, it seems. Here we go. Baby, Won't You Please Come Home, another standard. And again, we do have Mr. Gardner as a saxophonium solo with the aforementioned rhythm section. This is Study and Swing number 4 on Parlophone. So I reckon it's worth a burl. George Scott Wood, I'm vk3sl, and we are testing. Okay, here we go. That was another swing selection from George Scott Wood. And in that instance, Freddie Gardner. There's a whole stack of Freddie Gardners. I think they're all fairly sort of slow, slightly soporific pieces, which we might save for late night missions. I'd like to sift through all of these. There's about 10 of them here, and mostly they're with Peter York and his concert orchestra. So, that could be an interesting one to discover. This is quite good. It's a box I've found actually, and it was hidden under about 6 boxes. And it's all manner of interesting things here. And here's one of the Flanagan brothers in the 20s. So we've got two choices here. A Highland Fling medley. It sounds good. Nothing like a Highland Fling. Flanagan Brothers instrumental on a Regal record. So I expect this will be something Celtic. Let's find out. Okay, back to the 1920s there. That's a late 20s recording of the Flanagan Brothers and a rendition called Highland Fling, I think. Okay, Highland Fling medley, it says. Instrumental. The other side is the Merry Blacksmith and the Lightning Flash. 2 reels with the Four Provinces Orchestra. I wonder who they are. Could be a different group, but I'd say it'd be the same style. We'll play it, I think. We'll give this a go, and I might do a little bit of microphone shuffling so I can get up and close to the turntable, because I think we can just roll some of these records, testing as we go. That's the name of the game anyhow. We do just tone tests on 160 and on UHF, and sampling the collection today. These records which were completely unknown to me, and I've just had a bit of a riff through them, and there's some really exciting surprises which we can sample for future missions. Here we have the Four Provinces Orchestra, the Merry Blacksmith and the Lightning. I'm vk3sl. Test missions. Okay, can you hear me? Hello, 1 2 1 2 3 4. Yes, I'm just switched on to the old vintage. What is it? A RCA 44? No, not 44. It's a 77 DX, and I can't hear myself as well monitoring, but I'm presuming I'm getting out all right. It'll be a little bit mufflier. This mic, it's an old ribbon mic, classic ribbon mic, but I've got it on the other desk because it just gives me easier access to the turntables. I can riff through records and slap them on the platter and do these things in sequence. So here we have a parlophone. I think this is acoustic. And on one side we've got the Parlophone Laughing record. I have to re-catalogue this because I've got a collection of laughing records. These are records made to boost morale during the First World War, so I expect that this record is around that time, maybe a little later. On the other side, though, there's a track called The MIDI March. The Parlophone Orchestra, definitely under a pseudonym. It's probably a house band of one kind or another, probably Columbia, because Parlophone was subsidiary. So here we go, in the groove, and let's have the MIDI's March. I'm vk3sl, testing. Right, there we go. That was the... Who was it? The Parlophone Orchestra, it says. Yes, the MIDI March. I won't inflict the other side, the Parlophone Laughing Record. We'll have a session of Laughing Records another time. They are pretty painful, to be honest. And we're just sampling this new batch. And there's lots of boxes of records like this sort of hidden away. I know there's another 2 boxes underneath one of the turntables here which haven't seen the light of day, so goodness knows what's in them. But I'm pleased to see a few recordings of Alfredo Campoli and his Salon Orchestra. So these are recordings made in the 1930s when he was at the Dorchester Hotel. And some of them are solo, some of them are with groups. This one's with his Salon Orchestra. And I'm going to do a feature on Campoli on Friday night. I'll wait until Frank's back, and because there is a Desert Island disc program off the BBC, which is now available online, and he actually speaks himself about his career. And it's an extraordinary story. It's one of these amazing stories of a child protege having all sorts of success, but cut short during the Depression, at which time, to make ends meet, he formed a Salon Orchestra of renown, and then went back to being a soloist again after the war. One of the few who was able to sort of keep their career on the road. But he was amazing. He was a great musician, Mr. Campoli. Beautiful bel canto fiddle player. I'll start off by playing one of his Salon Orchestra recordings. It's a tango nocturne. It's called La Announce de Liberté. So let's hear Alfredo Campoli and his Salon Orchestra. As I understand it, these recordings came from his ensemble at the Dorchester Hotel in London. was a tango from Alfredo Campoli and his Salon Orchestra there, recorded on a Decca disc back in the 1930s during the Depression. There's quite a few of them here, and some of them are quite tantalising. I did enjoy that lovely lilting feel on that record. It certainly cast an atmosphere, beguiling. Here's one called The Knave of Diamonds, and it features a piano solo by Sidney Cook, or Crook, I think it says. He's credited on the label. So we'll put this one on, and acknowledging Mr. Flemings. Thank you for that report, John. I appreciate that. Yeah, I was just about to send you a text acknowledging, and I'm glad to hear this microphone does work okay. It's a bit of an oldie. It's one of the few really collectible mics I've got here in the collection, and I certainly enjoy using it. But I've got to have the fader up on full, and I have to work pretty close to the mic. I think the ribbon would ultimately need restretching, but that's not a big deal. They have a very low output anyhow, so it's the best way with these is to actually have another gain stage. And I do have a little FET amplifier, which I use on the other desk, but I can't use it on this one for complicated reasons to do with powering it, and you need phantom power and all that sort of thing. But yeah, I have used it with that little FET amplifier, and it does make a difference. But for this purpose, it's just a paste together so I can just quickly shuffle between recordings. So we'll hear now another from Alfredo Campoli and his Salon. Whoops, in the groove. Can't do fast starts with this one. We'll just have to do it the gentle nudge. Delightful stuff. How about that? That was a recording of Sidney Crook with Alfredo Campoli and his Salon Orchestra. Now I'm going to keep these records aside. I'm going to attempt to sort these in some sort of form. I'd like to come back to them, and we'll do a Campoli special and play all of these at some stage, including some of his solo records. And there's been a number put up lately online by Mr. Vintage Sounds, like John Hanna in Sydney, who's put up a number of really interesting, rare Campoli discs, and they are absolutely ravishing. Wonderful playing. Yeah, so we'll definitely return to this. Campoli wasn't the only instrumentalist who had to find another course during wartime because of the loss of opportunities, or not wartime, or during the Depression, because the way the music industry folded in. And another one was Bram Martin, who was a British cellist. Now, there's another big story here, which I won't go into now, but I knew I had a couple of Bram Martin records somewhere in the collection, and I haven't been able to find them, and here they are now. So they're in this box, and I will be returning to these records to play again on evening missions and making a bit more of it. But there's a few here, and I'll just give you a sample of Bram Martin and his band. This is his salon orchestra at the Holborn restaurant in London. And so, yeah, an example of a cellist who found another course. I'm not sure if he returned back to playing or did he teach after the Depression. I will have to investigate that. But on a Regal Zonophone, going back to that period, around about 1933-34. Let's listen to Bram Martin and his orchestra.
Charms are in the air, that is where romance makes an early start. Down in the village there, they all have daughters fair. As you go to school, you lose your heart. There were 10 pretty girls at the village school. Picture 10 pretty bells at a village school. Cute and sweet, short and tall, and a boy loved them all. But you can't marry 10 pretty girls. There were 10 pretty girls, and I'll tell you this, that the boy's biggest thrill was to steal a kiss. But it don't mean a thing playing kiss in the ring, 'cause you can't marry 10 pretty girls. Now 5 were blondes and 4 brunettes, and 1 was a saucy little redhead. The girls grew up, the boys left school, and at 21 he wedded the saucy little redhead. Oh, that one pretty girl at the village school. Here's what she taught the boy at the village school. Kissing girls may be fun, but your heart picks on one, so you can't marry 10 pretty girls.
There we have Bram Martin and his orchestra from the Holborn restaurant in London back in the mid-1930s. What else does it tell us on the label? Yes, just from the Holborn restaurant, that's all. And there are a few here, so we'll keep him on the list as well. Maybe we'll feature sort of a subject of this kind whereby artists found a different voice during the Depression. I'm sure there are other examples of this as well, but there are two notable ones there, Alfredo Campoli and Bram Martin. So this part of records is quite interesting. There's all sorts of strange things that I just had no idea about. Here is one called, here you have it, it's Clement Barone, Nightingale and the Frog, it says, piccolo with orchestra on an old Zonophone. This disc is early, it may even be acoustic. Let's see if we can hold it up to the light. Can I see a little triangle? No, I can't. So that's a fair sign that this is an acoustic disc. So it could be round about the period of the First World War, maybe a bit later. It could even be earlier. As to who Clement Barone was, a piccolo player, I cannot testify. But we'll have a listen to Nightingale and the Frog on an old Zonophone. I'm vk3sl and we're riffing through stacks of old recordings, as we do. The extent they'd go to back then in that post-Edwardian period with their novelty arrangements. In that case, the piccolo with orchestra, Clement Baroni. He warrants investigation. We'll have to find out who he was. The other side is interesting too. It's a bells recording. William H. Heights, bells with orchestra. Well, bells captured very well with the acoustic process. They always sort of had plenty of tings and body to the sound, notwithstanding the limitations of the technology. So we'll have to just have a listen, I think, find out how this recording came, how it presents. And this could be anything. It could well be a reissue. That disc may go way back to the early days of the century. Who knows? But we'll hear side B. Sunbeam Dance is the name of the disc, and it seems to be mostly a pile of early Palm Court records. There's stacks of the Zonophone Salon Orchestra, which I'll hang on to and for a Friday night session, because I think we can have another light music special with music from that time. It always intrigues, and I know Frank shares my interest in that, so it's good to make new discoveries. But anyhow, let's have a listen to some bells. I'm vk3sl, and we're testing. Oh, how quaint. There we go. There was a bell solo from way back when, an Edwardian record probably, and the sound of the bells. It's a great sound, and they were captured very well on the acoustic process. There's no doubt about that. They sound really alive. Plenty of tings in here. They work well. So here we have it. We'll look out for more Bells records because they do the job, and I think they probably sounded more than excellent on people's Victrolas back in the day. So that was a really pleasant discovery. There's probably about 60 or 70 records in this box, and we will slowly sift through them, and I think there's material probably mostly suited to the Friday night sessions. There's a lot of cellists there. There's heaps of Cedric Sharps, about 10 Cedric Sharp records. He's an English cellist who I admire tremendously, but they're sort of more reflective type solos, so probably not so suitable for the afternoon. So anyhow, we're going to wind it fairly soon, folks, but before doing so, I was going to play a cylinder, actually. Now, this is another little adventure today. This afternoon, I've spent much of the day just sort of chilling, actually. It's been a hell of a week, and I just needed some downtime, so I've done lots of practice, lots of playing music. But in between, I had the Edison Standard phonograph sitting on the kitchen table, and I was trying to clean up the feed screw because it was very gummed up. So I had a very sharp blade, a little scalpel blade, and I was feeding it along the groove to get the gunk out of it. And I think it's made a difference. It's a bit of an agricultural old machine, and in time I want to really develop a proper means to play cylinders. But I've got a box here of unusual cylinders that I really haven't sorted through, and I played a few of them today just to see. Unfortunately, the covers are missing, and they're in a little specially made box with velvet-lined containers inside the box without the original covers. But and a lot of dust's got in and heat's got in, and some of them have cracked and some of them have destructed. Some of them are very old. They're brown waxes and unlabelled cylinders, mostly Columbias. A lot of Will F. Denny and Berry, so Mr. Berry. But amongst them all, there is a Clarion cylinder. Now, Clarion records are pretty rare. You don't see them very much, cylinder records. And Clarion were one of the last of the English companies. I think they started up about 1907. Just went for a few years. And they had sort of an extended play disc. And cylinder. And a number of artists performed for them. But this one sort of took my attention because it's called I can hold it up here, In My Aeroplane for Two. Now, in 1907, I'd say this would be about that time. It's pretty early. Aeroplanes in 1907 would have been pretty primitive. And it was the sort of the beginning of the era, really. So any popular song that sort of addresses that theme warrants a play, I think. So, yeah, a bit of a musical number. I think the artist is Charles Lester. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell. It's pretty scratched up. We may not even get through it. It's slightly out of round towards the end, and I might be able to dub it in time with a electric pickup if I've got plenty of compliance. But yeah, it's a bit of an unknown quantity. But I thought since it's in the box, it was there, and it provided good test material for the machine today while I was mucking around with it. So we'll play it. I've got the cylinder player right here. I've got a little microphone down the throat of the reproducer. A very, very basic setup. Some dampening as well. I experimented with dampening and also some EQ to try and improve things. Now, if I can find the groove.
In my aeroplane for two by Charles Lester, Clarion Records. With late living hold, we count softly, behold the aeroplane flying around. And folks that it soon will take trips to the moon instead of going far underground. Just think of the fun, how the crowd you can shun, for the spooning birds will be okay. Instead of George taking his lady by train, he'll stop round and order his new aeroplane and implore all those sweet ladies where in my aeroplane get married and up we'll go in my aeroplane for two. For miles and miles we'll fly. Oh, what a sensation, a honeymoon in the sky. In my aeroplane for two, I will sail away with you. Don't waste any more time below. Let's get married and up we'll go in my aeroplane for two. For miles and miles we'll fly. Oh, what a sensation,
Okay, folks, we almost got to the end. Unfortunately, there's a bit of feedback. Some feedback getting into the microphone. See, this is not the way to do it, really, but I just thought, since I was mucking around with the machine today, and you sort of got some idea, and yes, feedback was actually the major problem there. But yeah, 2 minutes, only 2 minutes. And that was a Clarion cylinder. And I was reading a little bit about them. They was supposed to be the highest quality. What does it say? There's a website devoted to these early boutique companies that popped up in the period before the First World War. It says Clarion was the last of the British phonograph companies incorporated in July 1907 as the Premier Manufacturing Company Limited, just as public taste was veering towards the disc. Oh dear, bad choice. It had the benefit of Charles Richard Johnson, a veteran recording engineer from the old Edison United Phonograph Company of the early 1890s, and produced well-made and recorded records in its early years. It would be interesting, incidentally, to see what I can retrieve from this with an electric pickup in time. Contemporary opinion considered the wax to be exceptionally smooth and the band records to be outstanding quality, it says. Wow! And they went on to make 5-minute cylinders, and there's quite a story there. In fact, this website actually gives some examples, and they give an example of an excellent recording from that time, a track called The Spirit of the Storm. We can try and play it. It's an MP3 file attached to the site, so we can sort of keep our Clarion theme ongoing, I suppose, but it is a little bit muffly. They've rolled it off, and I don't like rolling things off, but we'll play it anyhow. It'll give you some idea, and so let's have a little bit of a Clarion expose. I'm
The
vk3sl.
Spirit of the Storm by the Silver Prize Band, Clarion Records.
Well, there we go. There are a couple of examples of clarion cylinders, and I will investigate the I-78 site because I reckon they might have some clarions there. Although they're mostly American discs there. Anyhow, we'll look into it, we'll follow on, and we'll discover. This is just a taste of things to come because I would like to get much more involved with the playback of cylinders. I only got one box of cylinders here at this QTH. At the second vault, there are boxes and boxes and boxes, a couple of hundred cylinders. So that's something we can indulge in for future missions. But I would like to get a proper electric player set up so that can be done with a little bit more jurisdiction. Well, folks, it's going to be time to wind up shortly. I'm out and about tonight, and so just a word about next week. We should be on as per usual next week. We'll just do things in our singular form, and I know that Mr. OP may be around at some point to do his program. It doesn't have to be next week, but at some point we'll have a Jeff Beck special. And also, I know Mr. Fleming gave me some tracks which I'd like to share with Frank, so we'll wait till Frank's back with us. But Frank won't be around next week. He'll be back in 2 weeks' time, and there'll just be lonesome test missions, I expect, next week, which is all fine. I'll just keep sifting through this box, discovering 78s. That's the name of the game. That's really one of the reasons why I'm doing this. Anyhow, so have a great week. Thank you for tuning in, for hearing the this sort of mad bad itch, and we'll follow on now just for another short time, just while I go and get ready before I shut up shop. I did find a 10-inch LP of the Cavalcade of Dance, Fred Astaire's Cavalcade of Dance, and wait for it, with Paul Whiteman and his new Palais Royal Orchestra, recorded in the 50s. A much older looking Paul Whiteman on this record. And I think the first track even features the new Rhythm Boys, it says. Well, we have to sample this. So we'll play, since we've played a lot of Whiteman in the last little while, we'll play this to sort of wrap it all up. It's a bit scratched up. It's on an old Coral LP from the 50s, I expect. Yeah, it says the Cavalcade of Dance as taught by the Fred Astaire Dance Studios, and played by Paul Whiteman. There we go. So we'll wind with this today. Thank you for listening, and I will say my cheerios, and we look forward to your company next time. I'm vk3sl.
First you put your two knees close up tight, then you sway 'em to the left, sway 'em to the right. Step around the floor kinda nice and light, then you twist around with all your might. Stretch your loving arms straight out in space, then you do the eagle rock with style and grace. Swing your footwear round, then bring it back. That's what I call ballin' the jack.
First, you take your time, you hold your baby tight. Don't get out of line, you go from left to right. Step around the floor, you do it nice and light.
You twist around,
Round and round,
you twist around,
round and round,
and round and round,
round and round.
with all your might.
Let's go.
Everybody, start ballin' the jack. Everybody, start callin' for ballin' the jack. Everybody, start swaying from left to the right. Then you twist around with all your might. Stretch your loving arms straight out in space. Then you do the eagle rock with style and grace. Swing your footwear round, then bring it back. Please be careful, she might crack. That's what I call ballin' the jack. It's being done in cabarets. Everyone has got the craze. Let's do it. Ballin' the jack. Jack, 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 ball of the Jack. Nickel, 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 nickel's all you need. Nickel, 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 yes indeed. Jukin', anyone can do it. Jukin', really nothing to it. Get your money, grab your honey and swing. For a dime you will find that you can have a jamboree just jukin'. Try it out and see it's up to date. Quite the latest thing. One, put your foot right out. Two, twirl and whirl about. Three, and without a doubt, for you know, off you go a-jukin'. Everybody's hep to jukin'. Once you get the step, you'll soon be jukin' to your favorite song. Come on, let's 1, 2, 3, go juke, juke, jukin' along. Nickel, 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 nickel's all you need. Nickel, 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 yes indeed. So get your money, grab your honey and swing. If you hurry, 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 you can have a jamboree just a jukin'. Try it out and see it's up to date, quite the latest thing. One, put your foot right out. 1, 2, whirl about. 1, 2, 3, without a doubt. For you know, off you go a-jukin'. Everybody's hep to jukin'. Once you get the step, you'll soon be jukin' to your favorite song. Come on, let's 1, 2, 3, go juke, juke, jukin' along. Put your nickel in and then off you go a-jukin' again. 1, 2, 3, go jukin', jukin' along. Nickel, 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 nickel's all you need. Nickel, 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 yes indeed. Nickel, 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 nickel.
You've been listening to a test transmission from vk3sl. We look forward to your company next week. Cheers for now.